concert choir and the chamber singers and a community choir. And I'm the one that was smart enough to ask Miss Collins to come and work for us a few years ago. When I first started as the choir director, it was over 20 years ago at East State. So I'm excited about this year. It's probably going to be my last year as a full-time employed teacher. And while that's a little scary, I'm kind of looking forward to that. But we've got some great activities going this year that I'm really excited about.
Alrighty, so let's get into talking about the music department as a whole. We know that encompasses, many things: band, choir, maybe even composition. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love listening to music, but that's about as far as it goes.
Okay.
When it comes to my education. So tell us more about the music department.
Well, I used to be the department chair, so I know a lot about it, but I'm not anymore, so I don't know as much about it anymore. But we do have instrumental music, vocal music, composition majors. You can get a music education degree so that you can teach voice or instrumental music. That's what Ms. Collins got a few years ago at A-State, was a Bachelor of Music Education, and so we turn out lots of music teachers, and we turn out a few music performers as well, and some really fine composers like Aaron Fisher.
All right, I've had the pleasure of meeting Aaron. How many years ago?
I can't even remember myself.
I know it's been at least 3 to 5, somewhere between that range. 3 to 5 years ago, I met him playing keyboard at my church, and so then we were talking, and he was talking about putting a CD album together and doing some more writing and things like that. And so to see him where he is now is really amazing. And so kudos to Arkansas State University for having this example of what you produce, what type of students you produce. So Avery, tell us more about what you're working on.
Well, I just just sent off an R&B album that's kind of embodies my own style, but kind of back in 90s era type of stuff. Also working on a gospel album for next year. And mainly I'm just trying to perfect my craft of composition and choral music and instrumental music. We're getting back to the instrumental music, but choral music is what I love doing.
So when you started at Arkansas State, did you go for the purpose of studying music?
I did. I actually went to be a percussion teacher.
Oh.
And so I was like, okay, if I'm getting frustrated with myself, imagine how I'm gonna be with some students. This ain't gonna work. So then I just kind of fell in love with composition and doing instrumental, and then all of a sudden I recognized choral because I started off in choir, but then I went to band and doing all those ensembles. And then once I got in choir, I was like, okay, I'm back in love. So I stayed on the choral side.
All right, so that you found your groove and found your niche where you need to be.
Right.
All right. And so I'm sure you had plenty of classes under Mr. Cherie.
No, actually, we kind of just met just because of her involvement in the choirs.
And I guess the first interaction I had with Aaron was we did the Christmas piece, Amal and the Night Visitors, and it's about the wise men traveling to the birth of the child, and we incorporated the Polish Symphony, which comes every year. Used to, I don't think they're coming this year, but anyway. So we did this production in collaboration with our vocal department and them. And Aaron, we needed Balthazar, right?
I was about
we needed a king, and he was our king. So that's how I got to know Aaron, and then he started hanging out in my rehearsals and got to know the students that I had and started writing for them. And I can tell you that every composition he's written for them, they have truly loved. It's been a joy to watch their acceptance of what he writes, and I know that everybody else will enjoy it too when it gets published.
So are you the sole composer, or are there sole composer?
Yes.
Yes, well you mean in our department?
Well, for the university singers, Well,
Oh, no, we have
several.
more.
Okay. Okay.
We sure do. We're very fortunate.
Okay.
In the department.
And so, Dr. Miller, where do you come in as basically a guide or kind of a keeping everybody straight in line?
Well, I try to do that, but then they have to keep me straight sometimes. So, no, I've had the opportunity to teach my choirs several pieces that Aaron has written.
Okay.
If we could funnel this back around
Yes.
to Aaron just a little bit, and because of some were because of his requirements for the composition degree, and some were just because he loves choral music.
Okay.
And we premiered some of those in our Ireland tour last year. Ireland.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh yes, I remember you talking about that.
And he's written several for the choir, and I have asked him, or he has asked me. We are in collaboration for Aaron to write a piece for the final concert that I conduct in April.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
That is going to be amazing. I'm
Yeah.
just going to be filled with a lot of emotion at the time.
Well, it is, and I've already decided I'm going to be writing my remarks in the program and not trying to speak them from the stage.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be an awesome event. Okay, so let's talk about some other things that are going on. I'm pulling up my notes here. I apologize. Okay, so we talked about some of the programs. Let's talk about the choir camp.
Yes, let's.
What does that entail? When is it held? What goes on?
Well, it's a summer choir camp for junior high and senior high
Oh,
singers from. They don't actually have to be in a choir anywhere,
okay,
but most of them are.
okay,
They are from entering 7th grade through just graduated from high school.
Oh, wow.
And it's a great recruitment tool for our A-State choir program because we have lots of former choir campers in the A-State choir. Ms. Cherie used to work at Nettleton High School, and so she had people involved in it before I came with Mr. Skoog, who was her teacher.
okay.
And Aaron has gotten involved in it through being a counselor for one of the university's choir students who acts as a counselor, section leader, etc., for the junior high and senior high kids. And he has done such a good job with that. He's now the associate activities director, one of those that, again, former choral students at
Okay.
A-State that helps to plan, and he's very creative not only in music but also in graphic art. And so he's created several of our logos for that event, and Ms. Cherie has conducted some of the choirs. We divide the students that come up into many different choirs.
Okay.
A big camp choir that I conduct, which is everybody, including the counselors.
Oh, wow.
And any grad students I have studying in the summer. And then they're divided into junior high girls, senior high girls, a male chorus.
Wow.
We started a vocal jazz program. We have a show choir. We have chamber singers. Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so.
I think we got them all on that one. But it's a way for our students who are interested in music education to find out if they're really interested enough in it to be involved with junior high and senior high kids on a daily basis. Because it's in the summertime. I believe next summer's dates are June the 24th to the 28th.
Well, we'll definitely stay on track, on top
Yeah.
of that, so we can pass the information on, because I
Yeah.
know personally some students in school that would love to take advantage of
Yeah.
this opportunity to get some real training from professionals and people who have gone through the program.
Yeah.
And so, okay, these are the do's and don'ts, the hows and how nots, and whatever else goes along with that.
Well, we have lots of junior high and senior high teachers
Okay.
that participate. They play the piano
Oh,
or they
wow.
direct the choirs, and we usually have 2 directors for each choir, so the students get lots of perspectives on music. So it's a lot of fun.
I think this speaks volumes when a teacher will take the time out to continue their education in their craft, so that they can pass on the best information, most updated information, and pass on professionalism to their students. So
Yes.
I think that's really wonderful that the teachers take time out to attend these camps as well. Alrighty, so I'm looking at the A-State website, and there's another listing. It talks about the available choirs. We've talked concert, university singers, men and women, university singers, community choir. So tell us about that, the community choir.
Oh, okay. About 15 years ago, we got invited to go and perform at Carnegie Hall for the first time.
Okay.
And so in order to include more than just the students in the choral department, and include some community folks that had sung before, would enjoy singing, I started a university/community choir. And it's university part of it is some of the students that are on choral grants or vocal scholarships singing that ensemble to fulfill part of their obligation to the university for that grant that they're getting. And then the rest of the folks are from driving distance.
Okay.
We have some that come up from Little Rock to sing with us, and Cherie's parents sang with us in Ireland last year, and so
amazing.
it's a broad spectrum of people that from the area that will get involved, and it's not just on the years that we travel, and we don't travel every year by any means because we have to raise all the money ourselves.
Okay.
With very, very limited funding from the university usually.
Okay.
Everybody's competing for the money, and
I know that's right.
we have to go out, and we did fundraisers for years, and Aaron's going to talk about a few of the things. I think I see some notes he's got that we've done in the past, but that's a one-time-a-week group. We'll have our dress rehearsal tonight for our concert tomorrow night.
That's what I was going to mention.
And both of Cherie's choirs will be on that, and some Aaron's music, and so.
So I would love for Aaron to talk about, again, this is tomorrow night, November 7th at Riceland Hall in the Fowler Center, 7:30 p.m. This is a free concert.
Yes, let's say that again. It's a free concert.
So
some of our concerts are paid, and that money helps to subsidize the budgets of the ensembles that are on that concert. But these university singers concerts we do for free.
All right, so Mr. Aaron, tell us more about this event and some of the music that you've put together.
Well, I've put actually two pieces together, one for women's choir and one for men's choir.
Okay.
But I kind of switched it up. So the women's choir has a baritone solo with it, which Mr. Matthew Carey is going to perform that, one of the faculty at Arkansas State.
Okay.
And also the men's choir is doing a song with a soprano solo, and Miss Bethania Beret Harrison.
Okay.
She's going to perform that. So it's going to be wonderful. Heaven's Gates is one of the songs that I'm doing with the women's choir.
Okay.
And that's kind of just an imagining of going to heaven and wanting to see God's face and wanting to hear well done. And I'm dedicating it to a music mentor of mine who passed away a couple of weeks ago. His name is Shay Norman. I've known him since I was 3 years old, young, because I used to sing with him. And he passed away a couple of weeks ago, so I'm going to dedicate that to him because I already know where he is.
Okay.
And the other song is A Father's Love, which the male chorus is doing with the soprano solo. And that's just about recognizing what you deserve in life. You deserve to be loved, but not just any love, unconditional love, consistent love, the love of God. So that's what it is.
It sounds like you put a lot of thought into the content of these songs, the words, the lyrics, the message of these songs. So where within yourself did you pull the inspiration and the titles from?
Well, for one, it really helps when you have a choir director. It really helps when you have a choir director. I always call any choir I'm in with Dr. Miller, I'm just like, we sing a lot of spiritual material in different languages.
Oh.
And it's always spiritual, uplifting, and a lot of times fun. And so I just kind of try to embody that same thing, because I mean, with everything going in the world, people need to be uplifted, people need to laugh, and so I try to embody that. So really my inspiration is just from what I see, what I hear, or sometimes I might not just be feeling anything at all, and it just pops up in my head, and I'm just like, okay, Lord, I'm not going to question, I'm just going to write it down.
Right. So when you are working on pieces or working on, lyrics, I'm sure you have notes everywhere, all of your wherever you stay.
All in my phone. All in my phone.
Do you go to your mentors or your professors and say, okay, can you listen to this? Do you have words first? Do you have music first? Like, how does it come to you?
It depends. Y'all will hear tonight the women sing Hallelujah. And that was the first thing that came in my head for Heaven's Gates. The first song I did perform with the concert choir was a song called More of Thee.
Okay.
And it was just, I was going through a really hard time at that time.
Okay.
And so I was basically asking God for more of Him. And it was actually the first choral piece that I had written as well.
Oh, wow.
And so I went to Dr. Miller about it, and I just wanted his input, because I'm like, okay, Doc, that was this. And then he goes, this is great. We're going to perform this. And I just kind of went, what? Because it just threw me off so bad. But that was the start of it all, so I'm grateful.
So even though we are going to play one of your songs after the show ends, due to streaming rights and all this, we can't play play music through our stream, but we are going to play it right after the show. So everyone out there, stay tuned to right after the show. You're going to hear a song by Aaron, but can we, not right now because we're getting ready for break, but during this show, can we get a little bit of something from you? A cappella, live? Not right now, but think about something.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Anybody that comes in here that can sing, I'll put them on the spot. Okay, sing something. Okay, you're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're going to be talking more about Arkansas State Music Department and University Singers and the community choir and all that good stuff. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
How do you react to prickly people who hiss at you, irritate you, and sometimes wound you? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. In the wild, prodding a porcupine with a stick or by yelling doesn't work very well. It just makes the porcupine more angry. You risk being on the receiving end of some sharp, painful quills. It's the same way in our relationships. If you prod a porcupine's spouse, teen, or in-law with your words, things usually don't go well. Saying things like, "What's your problem?" just makes them even more mad. There are better ways to respond. Kind words or a hug work well. For other responses to these prickly people in your life, visit my blog at markmerrill.com. Remember, your family first.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Attention members and guests.
This is your girl, Sweet Angel, the red bone with a saxophone, coming to Legends Barbecue Smokehouse, Saturday, November 25th.
A night to remember, starring Sweet Angel and the S.A. Band, performing songs like Juking at the Hole in the Wall,
At the hole in the wall.
Can't Walk Away.
I can't walk away.
Showtime 8 p.m. Ticket and other information, Legends Barbecue Smokehouse, 870-530-3121.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Kabila Hardin, and my guests are Mr. Aaron Fisher, Dr. Dale Miller, and Ms. Cherie Collins, who stepped out for just a moment, but she'll be right back. And so in these next few moments, we're going to give Dr. Miller some time to talk about another exciting thing they're working on at Arkansas State University.
This is this will be the 19th year that we've done the ASU Madrigal Feast, and a madrigal is a name for a form of music from the Renaissance, from the 1600s.
Okay.
1500s and 1600s, and it's like dinner theater from the time of King Henry VIII of England. In fact, we have a student. A couple of students that are the King Henry VIII, and one is his Queen Anne Boleyn, who unfortunately was beheaded. No, we don't actually behead her during the Madrigal Feast, but it has been threatened a time or two, and it will be referred to in the script. But it's like I said, it's like dinner theater. We do lots of singing. There's a little play that runs through the event, and most of the choir will actually be the servers. They'll be bringing out the wassail, which is a spiced tea, and then the meal. We're going to have chicken breasts in white wine sauce this year. And then we also have the Flaming Pudding Carol. It's kind of the flaming bread pudding, but they bring that out. Everybody parades around. We have a bunch of our students that are in the royal court of King Henry VIII, and they're the chamber singers. They're selected by audition from the concert choir, which is the top touring group. So it's really a fun time for us. We do a lot of good music. We do, as Aaron was mentioning earlier in the program, we do it in several different languages. We have some Italian pieces, and we have some French pieces, and we have I don't think we have any German pieces, although we have one couple that claims to be German.
Okay.
On the royal court, but it's a ticketed event. You have to buy the tickets in advance, so we know how many meals to cook. And this year, because it's as I mentioned earlier, it's probably my last year to teach. We're having alumni that have participated in the Madrigal Feast over the 18 previous madrigals.
Oh my God!
To come and sing songs, a song or two with us, and it's just a great occasion. There's dancing and
this is going down when?
This is December 1 and 2.
Okay.
Okay. The tickets. Can I tell on the air how to get the tickets?
Yes.
Call the ASU Central box office.
Okay.
That's 870-972-2781.
Okay.
And just tell them what night you want to come. The tickets are $40 each for general public, but if you have a group of 8 or more, it's $35 each. And then our alumni singers we're even going to make them pay, because we work at a zero budget.
Okay.
So we have to earn all the money that it costs to pay the musicians that we're doing, and the caterers, and cover the cost of new costumes. Sometimes the costumes we have don't fit the bodies of the singers that we have that particular year, and so that works out that we have to buy a few costumes every year. But as I said, these are the Royal Court members are all members of the Chamber Singers. They've gone through 2 auditions to get into this group. The servers are the concert choir members that are not in Chamber Singers. and they've gone through an audition to get into this group. So there's lots of great singing. We even get the audience involved in the singing and the skits and the dancing. So it's a fun night. It's about 2.5 hours. It runs like dinner theater.
It does not feel like 2.5 hours.
Aaron's been on the Royal Court a couple of times. What was your character name last year?
Last year it was Sir Shaft and Lady Foxy Cleopatra.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I give them quite a bit of latitude in the titles and names they give themselves on the Royal Court. And they get to pick out their entrance music. Their very own entrance music.
We walked into Funky Town. So funny.
Is there some video footage of this?
It actually is.
Actually, most of it's in candlelight, so you can't see a lot.
Just to hear and just to get a glimpse of what went on.
Yeah. It's,
oh my goodness!
And each time it's a little bit different, a lot the same, but a little bit different, and you have the same characters sometimes, but a different person playing the character. So it's interesting, and tickets have to be purchased no later than November the 28th.
So do you have a formal announcement going around maybe on your website so I can pull that up?
We will. We
Okay.
will. It's not on there yet, but we just got the artwork for it last week.
Okay.
And about a day before we got the artwork for next summer's choir camp.
All right. Well, I will be on the lookout for that. Or if
Good.
someone can email that to me, then I'll make sure that we help spread the word here at KLEK. And like I say this all the time, well, I'm starting to say it more. Even though Arkansas State is one entity, it is not a separate entity from the city of Jonesboro.
Yeah.
The programs that you offer serve the community as a whole.
Yes.
Everyone can come out and enjoy everything that goes on Arkansas State University's campus, unless it specifically says for students only. But for the majority of the events, they are community wide. It just so happened to be held on the campus of Arkansas State.
Yeah.
So everyone, please consider going out and supporting all of these events. They really could use your support and love. Show them that you appreciate the hard work that they put into. I don't sing. I write poetry, but that's about as much as I do.
We need people like you.
I have such an appreciation for people that can write, sing, compose, do all that. God, round of applause to you. Round of applause to you for that. And then for people, and for you all that have the patience and the know-how to teach the patience, because I'm sure there are times you've gone over a song 500 times, and then someone still comes to class and hits the wrong note. You're like, what?
Yes. Well, we are teachers who are teaching singers, but we're also teaching singers to be teachers of singing. And so we try to monitor how we give our instruction and our constructive comments, but sometimes the snark comes out just a little bit. Really? 14th time today, and really? Thought we didn't know it to do it that way this time. But,
oh my goodness!
Yeah, lots of fun.
When do your students ever come back and say, "Okay, first question: have you ever made a student cry?"
Oh yes. Yep.
But do they? Maybe not that student, but do students ever come back and say, "You know what? I really appreciate how you pushed me and drove me to get to the point of perfection." Okay.
Yeah.
That is so rewarding.
That's one of the. Okay, this is going to bring me back to do the next concert or start the next series of music, because you're constantly starting over.
Okay.
Lots of new students in the choir, and sometimes things that are new to those new students. They've never actually experienced music, the kinds of music that we can do at Arkansas State.
Now, even though you say you may retire, do you feel there may be one thing or something that can make you say, okay, you know what? I'll hang on again for another year.
I doubt it. But you know what? If we, I've conducted in Carnegie Hall several times.
Okay.
And the producer that produces those concerts has invited me to come and be on staff as a guest conductor and those kinds of things. And a nice salary, but then when you think you got to live in New York, yeah, it's not all that good. But but that role is conduct for 1 4-day weekend.
Oh, wow.
4 times a year. My role has been conduct 4 or 5 days a week, 6 days, 7 days a week, and get to know the people I'm conducting and to know how what we're doing is impacting their lives.
Okay.
And whether we're singing sacred music, which I sing a lot of sacred music with my choirs, I tell them that you don't have to believe like I believe, because I believe this.
Okay.
But every great singer is a great actor, so you have to act like you believe it.
Okay, that's right.
But, and my answer to people who say, well, why do you do so much sacred music in a secular school, is because that music is historical. That's where that music came from. Who could afford to pay musicians? It was the church.
Oh, wow.
They were the ones that could afford, and the nobility paid, and that's where the music for Madrigal Feast came from, because they could pay for people to do music for them to perform as their entertainment. And that's what a madrigal is. Basically, it's self-entertainment by people who had enough money or knew somebody that had enough money to pay somebody to live while they were writing that music.
Oh, wow.
So, would I direct another choir? Absolutely. I would direct another choir. Would I take a full-time job to do it? My wife and my dog are already retired to Mountain View.
Okay.
And I drove in from there this morning, because when I finish teaching each week, I drive back to Mountain View and I spend the weekends there. And this is my 45th year as a teacher. I started teaching in Texas in high schools, and then after I got my doctorate, I moved here and became the director at Arkansas State, which is exactly the kind of school, exactly the same kind of job that I wanted to have. The size school, the size department, and so it was a God thing.
That's amazing, amazing testimony.
Yeah.
We truly appreciate you for driving in to be here.
Well, I'm going to class. I just drove a little earlier
Okay.
this morning. and thank you for letting me talk about my love for choral music and for Arkansas State, and I'm going to go show that love to another class.
Okay.
In a minute, so I'll be leaving you now. But thank you,
Doctor, so much
for helping us get the word out about the great things that Aaron has done, that Cherie does, that our choir kids do.
All right, well, thank you. All right, and Miss Cherie, I'll bring it back around. You know, I had the pleasure of meeting you once before. We had the professor on, and Dr. Young.
Yes.
And
Strings program.
that was amazing. So, Aaron, do you get to work with the other departments, say the band, and different sections of the band, or any other part of the music department? Do you get to work with them to compose or sing, or?
A lot of times I will work with them, because when I write, I've been constantly doing this thing where it will be choral music, and then I would invite an instrument, write an instrument with it, or ask a percussionist or ask a horn player to play, just because, I mean, right across the hall, why not?
Okay.
So I would do that, and a lot of times when we would perform stuff, they would sit there and ask me stuff about the score, and I'll just be like, just be creative with it. You're a musician, just be creative with it, and it'll end up coming out with something so great that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put that back in the score later for the final version. So, but yeah, it's fun.
I know you're fairly young. How old are you?
27 now.
Okay, so you're a bit younger than me. Do you ever go back and listen to? You remember back, Miss Cherie May, back in the 60s, 70s when music was coming out, and like they had big bands, you know, behind them. Even on stage in a concert, you had a full band. So Do you ever go back? And Earth, Wind, and Fire was one of those.
Yes, thank you.
So do you ever go back and listen, not to say sample, but to listen to the composition of the instruments and how things were done?
I have to, just because my brain is so complicated.
Okay.
I have to go and listen to music from back in the day, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Frankie Beverly and Maze. I have to go and listen to things like that because I need things that stimulate my brain.
Okay.
And I'm kind of finding those things now with Snarky Puppy. You have Hiatus Coyote. I'm kind of finding those things. They're tucked in the underground music world, but I'm finding those things. So it just helps me sustain and see what I can do.
Okay. Now, going forward in your life, when is graduation for you?
Graduation is December 9th.
Really? All right. And so where do you see yourself going next?
Wherever God takes me.
Okay.
I mean, really, I would love to. I'm interested in so many different things that I really don't know. That's why I'm just putting it up to God and what He would have me do. I would love to write for movie scores and do things like that, but I'm just trying to feel my way around. As far as now, my passion right now is the choral scene and choral music, and just trying to not only write for college and high school, but trying to write for middle school and children's music at least. Okay. Just to get into that.
Now, one thing that I've seen that's popular with some of the younger group, they call it, I guess, help me out, mashup, or, when Glee came out, that was really popular. The acapella version of, putting all this stuff to putting all these different pieces of songs. So do you, I know you play the keyboard and you maybe play some other instruments, but do you ever do some acapella stuff?
That's mainly what it was in Ireland. I did an arrangement of a famous song, Wild Rover, and Dr. Miller. I just went to Dr. Miller and I asked him. I said, I want to write a song for Ireland, but my brain is so stumped. And he said, do an arrangement of this, and he sent me the main thing of it and told me to do an a cappella arrangement. Because, traveling choir, you can't take a full band with you. So we had to do an a cappella arrangement. And so I did it. We rehearsed it. It went well. And then we get over to Ireland, and every single place we go to, they're playing Wild Rover. And I'm like, what did you do to me? I was so nervous because I didn't know how the people were going to respond to it. But it was nice when we were performing and seeing all the Irish people just sitting there singing along and clapping along to it and stuff. It was great.
That had to be an amazing experience.
It was. I was like, oh, do you like it? Do you not? Tell me something good. I don't know.
So, Ms. Cherie, can you tell us what the experience was like for you as a teacher to see your students engaged in an environment that this was totally, foreign for them, like being in a foreign country, singing in front of people who they do understand the language, but maybe some didn't understand English, or I'm sure you had your old generation people in Ireland and your newer, and so from your perspective, tell us what that was like for you.
Well, I love taking groups overseas. The first thing I'd like to say is, a lot of students haven't even left Jonesboro or left the state of Arkansas, and so when you see them take off overseas in a 747, their eyes are large and full of wonder. So that in itself, watching how students respond overseas is very rewarding. And the food was fabulous.
I can imagine.
Ireland.
Is it heavy, rich food?
Not really.
Okay.
Aaron and I ate a quota of salmon.
We ate so much salmon.
And the potatoes. Oh my! They just keep coming.
They kept on. Look, I got upset a little bit because they brought us so many potatoes. They gave us a baked potato, and then they were going around serving mashed potato. And so when they came over there and said, do you want any mashed potatoes? I just took the baked potato and just started mashing it. I was like, no, thank you, I'm good. Because I'm like, no, I can't. I can't do
So
that.
the stereotype of they eat a lot of potatoes is kind of on point.
Yeah.
But you know what I found out while I was there? It's kind of fun. Is that actually the potatoes are shipped into Ireland because of the famine that hit there many years ago. They just haven't been able to have the same kind of crops.
Okay.
So they're actually shifting. And
That's
so we're eating, I don't know potatoes from where, but they were really good. It's how they prepared them.
Okay.
So we ate very well.
Okay.
We saw beautiful things.
I can imagine.
And we sang in a beautiful cathedral.
Yes, that was wonderful.
A small church. Our first concert was just packed. I mean, I honestly don't know how we all fit in there. It was fabulous. It was fabulous.
Oh wow. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll finish up, any more thoughts they have on this. I want Miss Cherie to tell us about the power of music. How do you get your students to connect, when they're in class, and help them find their direction and where they want to go concerning music. So please stay tuned. And then we're going to have Aaron sing us something when we come back as well. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Here are 3 things every teen needs to learn about money. First, teach the value of saving while you're young, thanks to compound interest. If an 18-year-old put $3,000 into a retirement account today and it earned an average interest rate of 8%, she would have more than $100,000 in that account when she turns 65. Second, teach them to value earned money via part-time employment, entrepreneurship, and investing over loans or gifts. If the only time you ever talk about money is when they're asking you for some, you're setting them up for financial failure. Finally, teach teens the rewards of delayed gratification. Let them know that it's far better to save for what they want instead of taking on credit card debt just to get it right now. When it comes to teaching money lessons, especially to teens, do as I say, not as I do, just won't cut it. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
Meineke of Jonesboro is now Starks Auto Service, a full-service auto repair and vehicle maintenance center offering engine and transmission repair, brake service, tires, oil changes, and more, performed by ASE certified mechanics. The all-new Starks Auto Service, 2813 South Caraway Road in Jonesboro, 870-204-7112. Starks Auto Service, Jonesboro.com.
The Epic Center, located at 1899 Hasbrook Road, County Road 333, is Jonesboro's newest venue for entertainment for the entire family. They offer an auditorium with theater-style seating for up to 1,100 guests, a large stage, professional lighting and sound, dressing rooms, concessions, and more. Available for weddings, concerts, pageants, birthday parties, showers, and more. Booking and other information is available at Epic Center Jonesboro on Facebook, epiccenterjonesboro.com, and at 870-530-5841.
First Baptist Church, 700 Kitchen Street, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Reverend Curtis Wilson, pastor, presents Men's Day, Sunday, November 12th, from the KLEK Community Calendar. Christ Ambassadors Ministries International presents Spiritual Preparation Conference, November 9th and 10th, 2017, at the church located at 5114 East Nelton Avenue in Jonesboro. The conference will be hosted by Bishop Ani and Pastor Gwen Jacob. Special guest speakers will be Tommy Smith ministering in worship, Apostle Brian Carter, and Bishop Adrian Rogers of Fullness of Joy Ministries, who will be the special speaker for Thursday night. The start time for each night is 7 o'clock p.m. More information is available at 870-623-4644 4013.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We do have a Facebook shout out from Mr. Victor Lamar Cobbs. He's like, he's waiting on this song from Aaron, Sing CeeLo. So, okay. I think
I will not. Thank you.
He has a song picked out. Before we get to that, we're going to let Miss Cherie, she has a poem she would like to read. Before we went to break, I asked her about how she conveys the message of the power of music, the importance and things like that to her students when she's teaching. So, go ahead.
Okay. Well, before I read a portion of this program, I just want to say that I think probably the most rewarding thing for me is to look into my students' eyes when they're singing something they truly love.
Okay.
And I know that it's coming from their soul. And that's what makes me come back every day. I call the time that I teach my sanity time.
Okay.
And I truly mean that, because you can go into a classroom full of students who may be coming from the nursing department or the philosophy department or chemistry or whatever, and you can share something together, and then you can leave the room and go to your own corners,
Okay.
of the world. But I think this sums up for me why I do this.
Okay.
I teach music so you will be human. I teach music so you will recognize beauty, and so you will be closer to an infinite beyond this world. So you will have something to cling to. So you will have more love, more compassion, more gentleness, more good, in short, more life.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. Music is one of those universal languages that, it just makes you stop and be in the moment versus 50 miles ahead of where you are. Like music connects people on so many levels that we don't even realize sometimes.
And, we've had so many rehearsals. Remember, we've had so many rehearsals where we will be just singing a song for the first time, and then people would just bust out crying. Like, we've had those types of rehearsals, and like we had to sit there and be like, okay, everybody get it together. We've had performances where we would get on stage and just start crying, and then all of a sudden, all you hear people in the audience crying. So that's the power of music.
The power of music. Oh wow! All right, and also before we get into Aaron singing, there's a Christmas program coming up on December 7th, also in the Riceland Hall.
Right. So tomorrow night is the first concert of the season for the university singers,
Okay.
the men and the women. And just a real quick rundown. I try to pick a variety of music so it'll maybe touch each person a different way.
Okay.
The women tomorrow night are going to open up with Songs of Sanctuary.
Okay.
It doesn't have any translation. The words don't mean
Okay.
anything, but so what it does is takes you to a place where you can formulate how you want to enjoy the music. It's with strings and percussion, and I thank Aaron's playing. I thank our strings and percussion, and we have a recorder player that's going to join us. Then we're going to do the song that Aaron wrote with Matthew Carey as our baritone soloist.
Okay.
And the last portion of the girls is the Appalachian tune, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? And it's really, really an awesome arrangement. And then our guys are going to do a varied performance. They're going to do a piece called Homage, and it's thanks to the fathers, that our forefathers and our fathers that have passed away, and it's phenomenal.
Wow.
How the guys have done. They're going to do a German piece accompanied by our acoustic guitar, Dr. Tim Christ. It's really nice.
Do we sing in German?
We are singing German,
Okay.
and he's playing acoustic guitar. This is a really neat piece by Schubert. Then we're doing Aaron's Father's Love. And we're going to end Oh, I'm so sorry, we left out one of the famous folk song, Shenandoah,
Okay.
accompanied by one of our men's chorus members in cello, Shelby Stewart. We're going to close with a rousing spiritual called Plenty Good Room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, great lineup.
Yeah.
All right, so, Mr. Aaron, are you ready to give us a sample?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, go for it.
I'm going to sing "'Tis So Sweet." That was the song that Shay was known for.
Okay.
It was morning. All right. 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know thus said the Lord.
Thank you. Well, I know we have some background music, so
Yeah.
that was awesome that you could sing that song to what's playing in the headphones and not get it mixed
Well, you
up.
know you got people singing wrong notes besides you gotta learn to tune them. I'm just kidding. No.
Oh my goodness. I can't thank you all enough for being here. And don't forget, stay tuned because we're going to be playing a song that Aaron wrote right after the show, right after the live stream stops.
I will.
The crazy Facebook, regulations. We can't play live music. But anyway, so stay tuned to right after the show. You will hear a song by Aaron Fisher called I Am.
I will.
Oh, well, he put in his I Am. I will. I apologize. I Will by Aaron Fisher will play right after the show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Don't forget, tomorrow night, November 7th, Riceland Hall, Fowler Center, 7:30 p.m., free concert. You will hear some wonderful singing, the men and the women, and the community choir will be singing. There will be songs performed that was written by Mr. Aaron. And I want to give a shout out to some other compositions, composers, Jonathan Adams and Brian Hinkelman.
Yes.
Okay, so didn't want to leave them out. Also, Christmas time, December 7th, Riceland Hall again, Fowler Center, 7:30 p.m. And then in between, free as well. There's another event coming up. I'll make sure to get all the information from A-State's website, post it so you can have it on your calendar, make plans to go. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a happy rest of your Monday. Don't get caught in the rain.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a